Have you ever wondered what super balls going at a supersonic speed will do? Well, today you're going to find out. We found these super balls on eBay and they are, I believe, 17 millimeters, but they are the perfect diameter if we're using a sabot, which we will. Now, they are very lightweight, weighing in at only 2.5 grams each, or 38 grains. So how do you make these work in a 12 gauge? Well, we'll be using an X12X gas seal just because it's short and we need all the space we can. And we'll be using a 2-piece discarding sabot, which is just a cut down hole from a 12 gauge shell. Now we have to load at least 2 balls just to have enough mass to make the powder ignite. Otherwise, just the primer goes off and we're disappointed. So can we even get powder ignition? Will they be accurate, or will they just spread like wildfire and miss the target completely? Well, let's find out. This is going to be a fun one, folks. Now, I think these have the possibility of being a pretty decent defense round. Our distance today is 11 yards, 33 feet, 11 meters, and we'll be using a load that has 3 balls, 10 grains of E3, and we'll be using a fully rifled shotgun. Here we go. Okay, what'd you expect? Do you think the dummy was going to just fly off the table from these lightweight rounds? Let's see what the high-speed camera shows. I was actually quite impressed that the balls stayed so close together. We had a very small spread, and you can actually see the body of the dummy cave in and everything. That would be quite painful. Now, with the 10 grain load, these things are traveling around 950 feet per second, so that's a pretty substantial speed. I mean, it's not going to kill anyone unless you hit them in just the right spot on the head or something like that, but it's going to cause a lot of pain. Pretty decent little dents there. And our grouping was actually quite good. I'm kind of surprised. That was out of a rifled barrel. For the next test, we'll be using a Zestier powder load of 18 grains of E3, a very fast burning powder, and recently very hard to get. Let's see. Okay, you didn't see nothing there. Let's see. Again, the accuracy was good and the spread was really tight. I just suck at setting up a table. I'll admit that right now. Now, keep in mind that each ball does weigh about as much as a .22 bullet. So you do have a lot of energy hitting that vest still. And that energy is spread out into a larger surface. But man, that was pretty impressive. I didn't give these things much of a chance of working out of a rifled barrel very well, but they sure are performing well for us. And we did test some out of a smoothbore. The spread was really wide. This was less than 10 yards, and only one of the balls actually hit the jug. And you can certainly debate whether having, 10 inches of spread is good or not. It probably is in some cases. But if you want a really tight grouping, a tight pattern, actually, the rifle barrel is definitely better. Great grouping. I was kind of surprised by that. Look at it, a lot more damage. We actually tore into the vest and left some dents behind there. That would definitely hurt, and we recovered one of the balls. Still in good shape. And this is just a side-by-side of the first 2 shots, showing the difference in speed and damage on the dummy. Now, the 10 grain load is a little bit quieter. It's about as loud as a .22. And like I mentioned, the 10 grain load is driving those to about 950 feet per second. I don't know how fast the 18 grain load is. I could never get a reading on that, but I'm guessing around 1500 plus. Okay, next we're going to try a little smaller target. This is our famous ballistic gel gummy bear. We'll be using the 10 grain load first. Let's see how it does. Hey, we got it. Now, as you can see, the balls are actually spinning from the rifling, and I was kind of surprised all three of them actually hit. I thought I'd be lucky if I just hit it with one of the balls. But again, they flew really tight. They hit exactly where the red dot was aiming, right just in the center of the gummy bear. And it had enough energy to break two of the super balls. And that's a surprise because the gummy bear is really soft and squishy.
Just some superficial wounds. Definitely you can tell something hit there. No penetration at all, which is kind of what you want with a less lethal round, right? But man, that'd be a lot of pain. You'd have a 4-inch bruise right there, I bet. Let's see what it does with 18 grains of powder now. Oh, quite a bit of a difference there. No new reading on our lab radar. Surprise. Oh.
Now I used the same aim point as I have been, and it shot a little bit high. I mean, it still did some damage there. Now there is such a thing as pushing a slug or payload like this too hard and screwing things up that way. It looks like the 10 grain load is the most accurate so far. And as far as a self-defense round goes, the 10 grain load is probably the best option. Not pushing it too hard or too soft. Next we have a wooden cutting board. It's a 1/2 inch thick or about 12 millimeters. I have no idea what kind of wood it is, but let's see what these super balls will do to this with a 10 grain load.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, let's take a look at the Chronos high-speed camera footage on this one. There goes our gas seal. Two of the balls are flying together and spinning. The third is a flyer. Now take a look at those dents in the wood. That's substantial there. And as far as energy goes, per ball is 77 foot-pounds of force and or 104 joules if you're into that. Now I may have screwed something up on my load. I might not have used a really long sabot on that one. I tried a few different things, and that definitely was not it. And I'm pretty sure that was the only one I got adventurous with and tried something different, like a shorter sabot.
And you can see the dents in there. Nice little, definitely would be painful. Caused a lot of cracking and the cutting board to split. And we even had a breakage in the back, a little spalling, I guess you'd call that. Not bad for...
Okay, I lied. This one is another variant. It only has 2 balls in it, and again, 10 grains of powder.
Let's see if it'll light off against the Taub Flater head. Well, it took out the glasses, that's for sure.
Using a lighter payload, we're now driving these at around 1,100 feet per second. And again, we had great accuracy. I don't know if that'd be survivable. Definitely don't shoot people in the head with less lethal ammo. And these are definitely delivering a lot more energy than even those Berno, however you say it, less lethal pistols.
Again, really impressive gripping, landing right where I was aiming. It was this red dot's basically right here. Even though it's only 11 yards, I didn't give these a lot of hope of being very accurate. So I'm kind of impressed by that. And it looks like they're actually spinning from the rifling. Okay, now we're going to shoot it at an AR-500 plate. I think the last shot was 1,100 feet per second. Okay, so we'll see if the balls bounce off there. We're filming at 19,000 frames a second. It's going to be a little grainy, I think, but it should be a little revealing too. Let's see if they'll bounce or splatter.
Again, this is a 2-ball load. I think that's one of Greg's band names. But these are traveling around the speed of sound, Mach 1. And no, they do not bounce off a steel plate. I think we all knew what was going to happen. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. It was actually kind of enjoyable to film this because they were a lot more accurate than I expected them to be. Now, what I was expecting to see was, yeah, I'd maybe hit each target with one of the balls while the other two go flying off down the road. But that didn't happen. They actually grouped really tightly, and that was the big surprise, especially coming out of a rifle barrel. I thought there was a good chance they'd just be flung all over the place or spin so fast that they would rip themselves apart in mid-flight. But I definitely think these would be a great defense round. Really simple and cheap to make. And I don't know, if you believe in, non-lethal defense stuff, a lot of people think, if someone's messing around, don't mess with the non-lethal stuff, and I understand that stance. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, I would appreciate if you leave a thumbs up for me. That might help, maybe not. But if you have a question or a comment, feel free to leave it because I will actually read it. It's a rarity these days. I will watch other people's videos, leave a really nice comment on there, and never get a reply or even a little heart or nothing from them. And it's kind of frustrating. It's like, why should I even comment on that person's video if they're not even reading them? You see what I mean? Anyway, enough of me ranting. We'll see you next time.